Take a second and imagine every time you see a trash bag on the side of the road, you stop and search. You are looking for your child, your only daughter. The clip you just watched is of a parent doing just that. Rowena Gabe is searching for her daughter, Alexis. You can hear just how emotional she is, not knowing what she may find. This became a normal activity for the Gabe family since the disappearance of their daughter Alexis in January 2022. We are going to discuss the events surrounding the disappearance of Alexis. In this video, we will discuss possible unaliving by police, and a missing person. If this may cause emotional distress, it's recommended to close out now. Alexis Gabe was born on March 17, 1998 to Gwen and Rowena. Alexis is the only daughter of Gwen and Rowena and their middle child. She has an older and younger brother, Gwen and Austin. There's a Facebook page dedicated to bringing her home, and her dad has mentioned some weird incidents that have happened in her life. She had eye surgery because she almost lost her sight. This came out of the blue, no issues until one day she called and told her parents she could not see. She also had a premonition that something may happen to her not long before she came up missing. Her parents have said she was an old soul, funny and enjoyed life. She loved being around her family, bonded with her dad over karaoke, and was fun to be around. They said she really enjoyed dressing up for Halloween. It was her favorite holiday. Her dad has posted she continued to trick or treat into her 20s. Her dad has his very own YouTube channel by the name Filipino Dad Cooks. Here's a clip. I'll also add a link to his channel in the description.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and smash the like button. Also, check out my Facebook page and my website at filipinodadcooks.com.
Alexis was a 23, almost 24-year-old from Oakley, California. She recently graduated nursing school and was looking forward to becoming a nurse. While she went to school, she continued to live with her family instead of moving out on her own, which is smart. You do get to save a lot of money doing that. She had an on and off again relationship with Marshall Curtis Jones III. Marshall was a 27-year-old from Antioch, California, which is about a 15-minute drive from where Alexis lived in Oakley. Alexis and Marshall dated on and off for about 3 years. In looking through pictures and posts, you can see why they were drawn to each other. Alexis was beautiful, smart, and had a great personality. Marshall had this really gorgeous smile. In November 2021, someone slashed Alexis's tires. She had Marshall give her a ride to get new tires. The tow truck driver, who towed her car to the shop, stated Marshall stayed in the car the whole time and never once tried to help Alexis. In December 2021, her tires were slashed again. Around this time, Alexis broke things off with Marshall. It was determined that he is the individual who slashed her tires. He was pretty upset about their breakup and lashed out. Maybe this was his way of making her feel unsafe and to want to come back to him. Unfortunately, we'll never know the answer to this. On January 26, 2022, Alexis's life was changed forever. At 6 p.m. on January 26, 2022, Alexis's friends stated she was on a FaceTime call with her, and Alexis appeared to be in her car, sitting in the parking lot where she lived. Around 6:22 to 6:29 p.m., Alexis went to Chevron to get gas. This was captured on surveillance video and tracked on her GPS. It's been mentioned these may have been the last pictures of her while she was alive. 6:37 p.m., Alexis arrives at Marshall's house on Bent Tree Way. Marshall was living with his stepfather in this home, but there's no reports if his stepfather was there at the time. A little after 9 p.m., Marshall made a phone call to his biological dad. 9:23, Alexis's car's computer registered turning on and moving. GPS on her phone and car does show a route to her place. the roads taken are not comparable to the historic data from her GPS. Her GPS did not show any deviations of the route until this final trip. Sounds like she was a creature of habit to me. 9:35 p.m. Her car is turned off. Seconds later, a driver exits the vehicle and begins to walk. Alexis does not appear to have been in the vehicle since she does not fit the description of the driver, and there wasn't any evidence of a passenger. The driver appears to be a male, wearing a large jacket, a beanie or cap, and an N95 type face mask with the beard poking out. 4 minutes later, the driver of the Infiniti passes surveillance cameras at Oakleaf Road. 9:43 p.m. Alexis's phone stopped transmitting data. It was assumed to be powered down. Her phone records do show it was moving in the same path as the individual who drove her vehicle until the moment it was powered off. From 10:06 to 11:03 p.m., the same individual was caught on multiple surveillance videos walking in the direction of the Bent Tree Way address. Remember, Marshall was living on Bent Tree. 11:09, Marshall's phone showed the in-call service. It's reported he called his dad, left the line open, and his phone at home to give himself an alibi. Antioch Police Department's detectives walked from Trenton, where the car was left, to Marshall's house at around the same time at night. They walked it in 1 hour and 20 minutes. This is very similar to the individual caught on surveillance cameras the night that Alexis came up missing. I just want to briefly pause from the actual script to show this picture. If you notice, he's wearing an N95 type mask and his beard is showing, just like what the surveillance video was showing. At 11:36 p.m., Marshall sends Alexis an iMessage. "Did you make it home?" He then called her. Both went unanswered. January 27th, Alexis's baby brother woke up and waited for his sister to come out to take him to school. When she did not come out of her room, he went to check on her and realized she was not home. Knowing Alexis, he felt she'll be back in time to take him. When she did not arrive, the family became worried. At 8:22 a.m., Alexis's mom texted her ex-boyfriend Marshall and asked if he's seen her. He states she was there the night before and left around 9ish to go to a friend's house. 1:09 p.m., her family contacted the Oakley police and a missing persons case is opened. Her family and friends start a search party because Alexis is typically in touch with someone throughout the day, and no one had heard from her since the day before. At 4:14 p.m., her car, her baby as she called it, a light blue Infiniti, was found by her family abandoned with her keys in the ignition. The car was found off Trenton Street, which is not far from the friend Marshall mentioned. There was no sign of Alexis, and it's not like Alexis to leave her keys in the car and doors unlocked. 4:25, her parents show up to where her car was parked and met with their eldest son. They asked him to open the trunk. Fearing she may be inside, they were relieved when it was empty. But now the question is, where's Alexis? 5:07 p.m., Oakley police contact Marshall, who admits Alexis was at his house but left around 9 p.m. He said she was on her way to a friend's house, who lives near Trenton Street, where the car was parked. When the police spoke with her friend, they learned the friend was out of town on January 26th. The next day, around 11:41 a.m., Oakley police detectives were canvassing Bent Tree Way when they happened to run into Marshall. When they spoke with him, they asked if they could search his residence, since this is the last known place Alexis visited. Marshall gave consent to search, but it was conditional. They did not have permission to search the master or spare bedrooms. Marshall did turn over his phone to detectives for an extract. He did not have his personal vehicle, so they could not search it. It sounds like he may have been in a company vehicle on his lunch, and that's why he didn't have his personal vehicle. 1:21 p.m. In his personal vehicle, Marshall heads over to his mother's house. Per video, he backs his vehicle into the driveway. He unloads several large, heavy garbage bags into the backyard or garage. Due to the surveillance video only recording 30-second clips, most of this was not recorded for playback. Marshall leaves his mom's and heads over to the Oakley Police Department to retrieve his phone. He then heads back to his mom's house to pick her up, and they go to Metro PCS so he can purchase a new phone and get a new phone number. They then head back to his mom Alicia's house. When they arrive back at her house, Marshall starts loading garbage bags back into the Ford Explorer. This is happening as Alicia hosts a karaoke party at her house. Now let's think about this. The rumors are going that Alicia knew what happened. She helped hide evidence. And if that's the case, she knew that there was remains at her house and she's throwing a party with her friends? How sick is that? Marshall leaves his mom's house and travels to his sister's in Vacaville, California. He arrives at 6:41 p.m. He's not there long because he leaves at 7:11 p.m. He had both of his phones on, but they were turned off. One at 6:40, the other at 7:11. He must have gotten lost because at around 8:52 p.m., he turns his phone on briefly. It pings by Bradshaw and Jackson Road. Detectives were able to find a gas station with surveillance camera. They see a vehicle very similar to Marshall's traveling southbound Bradshaw, and then the driver makes a sudden lane change and turns eastbound Jackson. In the early mornings of January 29th at 12:43 a.m., he turns his phone back on. It appears he's traveling to his mom's house because he gets there at 1 a.m. He stays at his mom's for about an hour and then heads back to his sister's. The distance between his mom's and his sister's, so Vacaville to Antioch, Antioch to Vacaville, it's 45 minutes to an hour. He arrives at his sister's around 2:41 a.m. January 30th, Marshall calls out sick, leaving his boss a voicemail saying he has something to take care of and would not be in. On January 31st, Marshall's sister found out about Alexis's disappearance and kicked him out of her house. He is seen on surveillance video, and it's possible he has a pew-pew on him. You know YouTube does not like certain words, so we have to improvise, so you know what a pew-pew is. The same day, a cell phone screen that had been broken and separated from the device was located. Investigators did not know if it was in fact Alexis's phone screen. It wasn't until May of 2022 when DNA results came back and it was determined Marshall's DNA was on the screen. February 1st, 2022, Marshall stayed at his mother's house and was seen with a pew-pew. Same day, investigators served a search warrant at Marshall's home on Ventry. They sprayed luminol inside the lid of the wash machine and it lit up. A sample was collected and it was determined it was Alexis's DNA. It was noted the shower curtain in Marshall's bathroom was missing. Marshall's vehicle was seized and processed, and Alexis's DNA was located in the back of the vehicle. Let's think back to the karaoke party and the loading of those big old bags. Those were most likely her remains, and they had a party with her remains at their house. Just sick. February 2nd, 2022, Marshall flew from California to Washington to visit his father. Marshall relocated from Antioch to Seattle. Even though he relocated, there was still an active investigation. He was still the main suspect. He can try to hide, but investigators kept tabs on him. February 3rd, a search warrant was served at Alicia's house. Then on February 23rd, a search warrant was served at his sister's house. His sister gave investigators handwritten directions to Pioneer. Now, these were directions her brother had written back on January 28th. Why did she wait? Why didn't she turn them over earlier? The handwritten directions to Pioneer were seized. Investigators immediately drove to Pioneer to get the lay of the land. Multiple land, air, and water searches were conducted using canines and other investigation tools. During one of the family, friend, and community searches on February 25th, a volunteer with Class Kid Foundations located Alexis's unique hand-drawn cell phone case. This case was found near Vista Grand Bentry Way. Alexis and Marshall's DNA were both located on this case. Marshall lived down the street from where this phone case was found. May 19th, Alicia was arrested for aiding and abetting, but the DA declined to file charges. She was released. Now, the Gabe family has a lot of theories, but I'm not going to talk about those. I haven't done my research. I'm not even sure. So, if you would like to read those theories, please visit the Facebook page dedicated to bringing Alexis home. 5 months after Alexis disappeared, on June 1st, 2022, a knife-wielding Marshall was unalived by Washington police. The police had a warrant to arrest Marshall in relation to Alexis's disappearance. Marshall opened the door and lunged at the police. In my opinion, he may have decided to unalive himself instead of facing a trial. On November 3rd, 2022, at approximately 3 p.m., the sheriff's office received an anonymous tip through the secret witness program. The anonymous tip states that human remains were found. The tipster is an individual from Alaska and was out metal detecting in the Pioneer, Plymouth area. Sheriff's detectives and crime scene investigators respond to the scene and initiate a search of the area. They collect remains and additional evidence. Close to 11 months after Alexis disappeared, she was identified by her dental records. Police believe that Alexis's body was scattered in multiple places in the Pioneer, Plymouth area. Part of her remains were located off Jackson Road in Plymouth, California. Think back to the route Marshall traveled the night with the bags. Jackson Road was one of the roads he traveled on. In reviewing this case, I did notice Rowena's smile and the light in her eyes. She had a genuinely happy smile. When she smiled, her eyes would light up. You could see how happy she was and how full of life. Since Alexis's disappearance, she has lost her smile and the light in her eyes. You can see the grief on her face. A parent should never have to go through what Gwen and Rowena have been through in the last 11 months. They've lost their daughter. They've spent countless hours searching for her. They've been taunted by the alleged suspect's family. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Kevin. People question why they are raising money. They've been through a lot. People will say, now they have closure. Or ask, why are they saying justice for Alexis? They will never get closure. Marshall is not here to stand trial or give a reason for what he did to her. They want justice for Alexis because a possible accomplice is still walking around free. And one of the biggest reasons they'll never get closure is because their only daughter is not alive. They will not get to hug her, hear her laugh, watch her do a silly dance, see her become a nurse, get married, or meet a grandchild. Alexis had a promising future. It's sad that she is taken before she could start her adult life. In my opinion, the DA does need to re-examine this case against Marshall's mother and even his sister. They know something. They may not have been there when he took her life, but I feel they may have been there to help hide evidence. The family deserves answers. I'd like to thank you for watching my video, and a really big thank you to my cousin for sending me this information and making me aware of this case.